together. So we're manipulating nature. We're making and creating things from things which already existed. So they find themselves in a situation where they cannot conceive of how God would create from nothingness. So the easy way to understand it is of God creating from himself. That he took himself to make the creation. That's why he ends up in some of their philosophies being inside of everything. And this is an old philosophy, actually. The ancient Greeks, Plato in particular, wrote about this, that human beings represented portions of God which were trapped in matter, and that the purpose of life here was to realize that that portion inside matter was actually God, and that we would do a series of exercises, spiritual, philosophical, logical exercises we would do to liberate our spirit from the material body, so that the spirit could rejoin with its origin, God. Now, this idea, coming from both the Hindu channel as well as the Greek philosophical channel, ended up amongst Muslims. A large portion of Muslims subscribe to a set of beliefs which are grouped together under the general heading of Sufism. And what you find in the various branches of Sufism is that the efforts and the purpose of life for the Sufi is fana. Fana is disappearance in God, becoming one again with God. And the various exercises that they prescribe, the various tariqas, each one has their own set of exercises that you do. Some of them it's just repetition, some of them involve moving your head certain ways, some involve dancing, you have the whirling dervishes, variety of different forms. They believe that these different exercises will help you to liberate yourself from the material and allow your divine portion to become again one with God. Same philosophy. Of course, it's been cloaked in Islamic terminology, and even verses from the Quran have been drawn out to support it. They will point and say, well, Allah said when He created Adam that He blew in Adam from His spirit. فَنَفَخَ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِهِ. There it is. Adam's spirit, the spirit which is inside of Adam, was a part of Allah's spirit. The basis of that philosophy. And of course, each human being who came out is carrying a piece of that spirit. So there's a piece of Allah in each and every one of us. Of course, this argument is a false argument. In my book, Fundamentals of Tawheed, I've gone into it in detail and broken it apart and shown that basically the summary that when Allah said that He blew into Adam from His spirit, this is not taken literally to mean that Allah actually blew a portion of His own spirit into Adam, because we don't believe that Allah has a spirit. Spirit is created, as Allah said when they asked you about the ruh. The ruh is min amri Rabbi, by Allah's command. Allah's command is be and it is. Allah commanded be and His spirit was. Allah doesn't have a spirit, nor is Allah a spirit. He's created being. So when Allah is speaking about blow hadith that it is the angel which blows. The angel blows. But Allah refers to it as His blowing, just as a means of showing the special quality of the Spirit entering. It is ultimately by His command, just as He says in the Quran, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. That in reference to Prophet ﷺ before the Battle of Badr, he picked up some sand. Right? The enemy was hundreds of yards away on the opposite side of the valley, and he threw the sand at them, dust at them. And they reported afterwards that before the battle they all felt dust in their eyes, they were all rubbing their eyes. Where it came from, they didn't say it. There was no dust storm. Allah caused it to reach them. So Allah described the throwing of the Prophet as His throwing. And that, when Allah referred to it as His Spirit, Allah uses the reference of His to elevate the status of some parts of His creation, just as Allah refers to the camel of Prophet Salih as Naqatullah, the Allah's camel. Nobody gets any image in his mind that this is Allah's camel, meaning literally, as Salih has a camel, you have a camel, Allah has a camel. No, nonsense. Allah refers to it as His camel, showing that this camel is a special camel amongst the camels of the earth. Similarly, He refers to Jibreel as His Spirit also. In Surah Maryam, etc., it refers to. So, this terminology, when Allah refers to things as being His, it is known, sometimes it refers to parts of His creation that He has ennobled by calling it His, and sometimes it literally refers to Himself, Allah's mercy, Rahmatuhu. Of course, this is not in that same context. When Allah refers to His mercy, He's talking about Allah. But when He talks about His camel, He talks about His earth, He talks about His prophets, then it's referring to parts of His creation that He has elevated. So this is the proper understanding of this verse. However, the point still remains that from this concept, the Sufi movement, mystical movement, promoted the idea of everything being Allah, Allah being everything, people can become Allah, and things. And the most famous individual among them was one of the saints in the hierarchy, is Al-Hallaj. Everybody has heard about Al-Hallaj, who, when he was, he claimed that he was Allah, saying, Ana al-Haq, right? Of course, Allah refers to Himself as Wa huwa al-Haq. So fundamentally, He's saying He's Allah. That's what He's implying here. And when he was asked to recant his beliefs, he was called before a tribunal of Muslim judges and asked to recant his beliefs, he stood up amongst them and opened his garment and said, there's nothing inside this garment except Allah. So he's not backing down. In his book called Kitab al-Tawasim, he writes, if you do not recognize God, at least recognize His signs. I am the created truth, and Al-Haq, because through the truth I am eternal truth. My friends and teachers are Iblis and Pharaoh,